But what I was going to say is just what bothers me so much about it is that the importance of it to them is that I basically pull my hair out and go, why would you do that? You know what I mean? Like, it's because, see, that's how the war on drugs works. When your rights are violated and you cannot call the police, you have no recourse, then that's when violence emerges. A lot of times, these people will kill each other over relatively small amounts of property dispute, you know, like a transaction that the government didn't mediate. God damn, Alex Jones bullshit in here. Like, you're just feeling like, oh man, you didn't say that right. I made it in life. This is all the bullshit we're all gonna have to. You're gonna have to hear this every fucking video from now on, because this is how because he's on my device. I know he is. I mean, Alex Jones is a CIA asset. Now I'll get into that after this, but you can look up CIA Alex Jones Stratford, and it should pop up. But anyways, I'll just power through it. I feel like I'm being raped by Alex Jones right now, but I'll just get through it. It's not going to come across correctly, but either way. But basically what I'm saying is just that it bothers me, and they're doing this now as I bring this up because they don't really want me going into this, because it's so ridiculous. It makes them look bad. You know what I mean? Because they intend to be God in your life, but they can't be God in everybody's life. You know what I mean? Some people are going to look at this and see bullshit. That's sick. And they're not really liking that. But the point of the story is just to say that, you know, like, it's just say like, you know, just the way they go about it is so offensive. It's, you know, it's more important to them to wait all day long for the moment in time that says, well, you would never expect me to do that, just to have me in such a state of bewilderment, to be like, just to me, it's just as bewildering just to know that, because I've dealt with the government and I understand, you know, when somebody's using like how a wait and see tactic works is basically when you can't find a way to render the type of damage that you're looking for, then you wait. You know what I mean? Or when you can't dominate a stronger enemy, then you wait for them to fuck up rather than try to just go and assault them. So I understand how that works completely. And what bothers me about it the most is knowing that they utilize these tactics, and it's just the fact that it's preferential to them. You know what I mean? That it's almost like an insult. You know what I mean? It's like, I wanted you to know that I preferred it, so that, you know what I mean, that you were just totally beside yourself, like, just what the fuck, you know what I mean? Like really, like this, it had to come to that. I'm trying to fucking figure these fucking people's problems out, and the best you can fucking do is try to figure out when I'm just gonna pull my fucking hair out. You know, can you see how that would really piss somebody off? You know what I mean? It's just, god damn, dude. It's just, I can't. There's no end to how I feel about that. You know what I mean? And then it'll fuck up my whole day. It might even fuck up the next day or the next day. You know what I mean? I'll stay upset about it for a long time. And it doesn't bother them. You know what I mean? It's just if I throw a fit about it, they'll assault me right then. You know what I mean? Because then it's just unexpected. It's just hard to believe that they would do it. So, but either way, I don't even want to talk about it anymore because I feel like Alex Jones bullshit is in here, and it's just, they're not just gonna let me do it. So, but either way, the point of the story is just, you know, it's just actually Alex Jones ruined my life. You know what I mean? And that's just another thing that frustrates me. Like, it's ruining my life. You know what I mean? Like, just right now, probably the rest of my day will be ruined because of the way that I'm feeling right now about just not even being able to get through this message because of Alex Jones. You know what I mean? And the way Alex Jones feels, and I have to feel Alex Jones the way he feels. You know, it's just, dude, it's like, let me get just, oh my God, dude, I'm just, holy shit, you know? But that is how they do it. I mean, that's what the repeated statements chapter means. It's you know, that's the conspiracy theorist. You know what I mean? That's the conspiracy theorist who told you that you weren't supposed to eat pizza. And so we're assaulting the British royal family by making them watch what we're doing to Tanner over sex trafficking. But it's okay to feel like that. It's okay because, he did tell you that conspiracy theories were wrong. You know what I mean? Like, that makes it palatable. It's like, yeah, he told you conspiracy theories were bad. That's the conspiracy theorist. You know what I mean? That's the one who told you eating pizza was bad for you. You know what I mean? And that's going to make everybody like it. You know what I mean? It's just disgusting. It's really disgusting. You know what I mean? Like, these people don't need any help being worthless when it comes to shit like that. You know what I mean? They already sit there and watch Fox News and CNN and bullshit all day long and soak up everything like a fucking sponge and regurgitate it word for word all fucking day. You know what I mean? They don't even have a sovereign thought in their fucking brain. You know what I mean? Not even one. Okay? So that really fucking bothers me a lot. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I get it. Like, if you like Donald Trump, some of what he's doing, it's okay to like some of what he's doing. You know what I mean? I like some of what he's doing. You know? But I won't just go out and say I love everything he's doing. You know what I mean? Like you motherfuckers, you know? And that's okay. I mean, Donald Trump isn't the worst, but, it's just, that mentality is just, it goes on forever. It doesn't matter if it's Donald Trump or George W. Bush. You know what I mean? If you're a Republican, then everything he does is great. You know what I mean? It's just that type of dumbass mentality. You know what I mean? To say that, oh, well, that's the one who said conspiracy theories were bad. Because, see, those people offer you something to fear and you feel safe when you fear them. And I don't offer you anything to fear. So you don't feel safe, fearing me or whatever. But, either way, I'm done. I can't even get through this message. This isn't going well. I just feel like Alex Jones ruined this whole fucking video. But anyway, I think I probably made my point. I was going to go into a little bit on Alex Jones. There is, you can look that up. Alex Jones, CIA, Stratford. So him being on my device, that probably is going on. Actually, I've caught him repeatedly on my devices. And then it's, he is a Fabian communist. That's why he repeatedly says socialism works if you do it right. He was saying that all the time. Socialism works if you do it right. How do you do socialism right? You see what I mean? You can't. But he'll say that because, see, that's how they operate. And even today, sometimes I'll watch Alex Jones and I see when they bring up some of these little socialist agendas, you can see his eyes kind of light up. Like, he won't say it, but it's in his mind. You know what I mean? It's in his heart. He loves that. You know what I mean? And that's one of the reasons why he's like jumping on the Joe Rogan bandwagon saying AI is going to take our jobs and all this. He's, oh, that's just the first phase. Because that's the argument for socialism. You know what I mean? Is to say that AI is going to take your job. No, AI is going to take somebody's job who's then going to go do something else, and all the fucking money that you didn't have to pay that person is going to pay them to do the thing that they want to be doing, which probably isn't sitting around researching shit and all that, which they can do at their leisure. You know what I mean? On something that they want to look into. But either way, the main point is just that, people don't even think about that, and it's hard to think about it, but these people, it doesn't take anything at all for them to just jump on the bandwagon and say, I want socialism. They're looking for ways to support that argument all day, every fucking day. Okay, and so they think they found one with that. I'm dismantling that as best as I can. But, what I'm saying is just, somebody like that, and he was all day, every day saying, what was he saying? Saudi Arabia did 9/11. Saudi Arabia did 9/11 all day, every day. That was the centerpiece of his message. Saudi Arabia did 9/11. That's all he said. If there was anything that he repeated, it was Saudi Arabia did 9/11, and he repeated it so much that it overshadowed everything else that he had to say. Everything. It was Saudi Arabia did 9/11. That's what he had to say. You know what I mean? Might as well call it the Saudi Arabia did 9/11 show. You know what I mean? Fuck it. That would have been a perfect fucking title for his fucking show. the Saudi Arabia did 9/11 show. And so I called into his show, and they put me at the end of the lineup, behind all the other call-ins. But not only that, they then let their guests come on and let their guests speak, and then made me wait until the guests had got done speaking, and then let me speak within the last 3 minutes of the show. Because he wasn't interested in being called out on that. You see what I mean? Because the nature of that situation was what I brought up was, I don't believe that Saudi Arabia fed the script to the BBC. That's the real tell of it all, is what happened with the BBC. I said, I don't believe that Saudi Arabia fed the script to the BBC and said, well, go ahead and read out loud that, Building 7 has collapsed behind, you, when it hadn't even collapsed yet. This is the first building to collapse due to fire in the history of the world. And they had called it before it even happened. Then, before it actually collapsed, their feed went out. And you could just tell somebody had done something. So what I'm saying is, it's just, I told him, I said, I don't think that Saudi Arabia had anything to do with that. And I said, I find it highly suspicious that somebody on the radio pointing our military at the biggest oil reserve in the world, and saying that this is how you know that they did it, that they fed the script to the BBC, that, you know what I'm saying, like they didn't do that, you know what I mean? So then what's the real argument here? You know what I mean? It's clearly not Saudi Arabia did 9/11, okay? And it's clearly Saudi Arabia has oil, you know what I mean? And didn't do 9/11. It didn't probably have anything to do with 9/11. That's a dirt poor country. They don't really probably have a hell of a lot to do with our government. I would be much more likely to believe the British would have had something to do with that, with our government, and they don't want to be invaded like all the other Middle Eastern countries. They would have known that's probably a part of the agenda, and they probably wouldn't have gotten on board with that. That's disgusting. And so, but that's just the way that, that's the reason why he didn't want me talking about it, because he's a fraud. That's why he wanted to jump on that bandwagon and be on it so much. You know what I mean? That's why he quit being like a left-wing shill and he started more like saying Ted Cruz is good. But that's neither here nor there. I already know he's a fraud, so I can read through all that stuff. I've exposed it in my book. I don't really need to rehash all that stuff. But it's just, it's just, they're making me feel this shit all the time. Like, Alex Jones ought to be the only fucking thing I'm worried about. Or the only, and this is really what's going on. They intend to make Alex Jones piss his pants in front of everybody over what the hell they intend to do to him, and then fuck him over at the height of his own desperation. And that's what they're doing with a lot of things. They're constantly asking me, how arrogant are those people? And one of the things they like to say is, if they suspect anything at all, then we won't be able to do what we came to do. See what they're doing? They're taunting them. They're basically saying to the public, look at us. Look what we're about to do. We're going to taunt these people, and then when they're pissing their pants in fear, then we're going to take them. Whatever they're going to do to them, possibly kill them or put them in prison. I have no idea. But it's a similar situation in Egypt where they come in and basically say, this is what we're about to do, and then that's what we're going to do, and then so you can sit there and be afraid of it right up until it happens, and then you can sit there and suffer through it, and that's what your options are. So literally, you just don't have any options. You're actually just going to suffer, and that's it. And that's just. To me, I think that's probably the biggest thing. I think the biggest thing is probably some kind of divine retribution thing with me to get you to like the new Constitution. But yeah, it is. This decentralization provision is for sure the most important provision in all of it. So, and it's also pretty hard to understand. And the average person wants to have their say in everything. You know, they want it to be like Burger King. You know, drive to the drive-through menu and you know, have it your way. You know what I mean? And so what I have to say to that is just the system that I came up with is not designed to give you what you want, unless what you want is for the government to stay out of your business, unless what you want is not to pay for somebody else's health care, unless what you want is not to, you know, pay for somebody to sit on their butt and soak up welfare money. Unless what you want is, you know, not to go to prison for, you know, drugs or something, you know. And that, a lot of people just, they want those things, you know what I mean? They want to pay for somebody else's health care. They want to pay out the nose taxes and property taxes and all this different stuff. And then they want to go to prison if, you know, they have a hard day and they end up using drugs. They want somebody to lock them up. And what I'm saying is that I'm not allowing that. So if that's what you want, then actually you aren't going to get that, you know? And the decentralization provision really cements that, you know what I mean? It really, it's that's just the way it's going to be, you know? It's probably the most difficult thing to understand, and for some people, and it really does. I mean, you're going to go and vote for the mayor and the city council, and then you'll vote for the governors of the region, the governor of the state, and the president, but you won't be voting for anybody else. And those people, the governors and the president, they aren't writing the laws. So you're not having that much control in what's going on. And that it needs to be like that. Because, there's a lot of reasons for why it needs to be like that. But either way, the reason that they're doing what they're doing to me, they're getting after me really bad. It's because of that. And I was to the point with it where I was like, look, I'm not even going to do anything if you're just going to keep assaulting me, because it was so fucking vicious. But then I realized if I don't do it, I feel like I'm repeating something to somebody because I've done this video twice. Somebody's listening to me. But anyways, but if I don't, you know, either way, it just doesn't even fucking matter. But yeah, it's, I don't remember what I was going to say. I guess it isn't that important.